Changes to our landscapes can be slow over long periods of time, or catastrophically quick in times of flood or earthquake. Boobyalla, once a busy coastal trading port, is now deserted except for cattle and wildlife. However, in geomorphological way, it is quite dynamic. In this video, we will explore some of the landscape changes that have occurred over the last 187 years. Its history goes back much further, but when relying on written and visual records, we can only go back to 1836, when the first surveyors tramped along the coast and mapped the early land grants. By speeding up a series of images from the first map to aerial photographs, we can get a visual impression of some of the changes to the landscape. Concentrate on the areas highlighted with circles and arrows to understand what was changing. Later, we will take a slower step through time to explain these changes. Flying over the area today in 2025, it is hard to imagine why this exact spot was chosen for some of the earliest land grants in 1836. In some places, we can see signs of human existence in the form of old fences and poles. To understand these early decisions, we need to turn the clock back to earlier times and look at past landscapes. Going back to 1836 and Dawson's map, we can clearly see the sinuous course of the Ringarooma River, a fairly narrow but direct outlet to the sea, a large double lagoon, later called Bowlers Lagoon, and the proposed boundary of the Boobyalla township. In the centre of the screen is the location of Reverend William Brown's homestead, a ford across the river, sand bluffs and the highland to the east. Much of the area was marked as good marshes and open grass tree plains with few trees. On this land district chart, we can see the names of many of the early original land or leaseholders. Though not an accurate geographical map, it does show the approximate course of the Ringarooma River, which is largely unchanged from 1836. Also marked on this map are parts of the old Cape Portland coastal road and the 1885 telegraph line. This is the earliest aerial photograph of the area taken in 1949. Note the changed river mouth, sand dunes about to encroach on the river, and how extensive Bowlers Lagoon. Parts of the old Cape Portland road are just visible where it crossed the river and its path near Boobyalla. In 1964, sand dunes have closed off a bend in the river and force it to overflow onto the land. Sand dunes threaten the old port road and Bowlers Lagoon is much smaller. In 1969, the river has been completely blocked at the bend and water has banked up into low-lying areas. The entrance is now more direct, possibly due to stronger river volumes. Sand dunes now cross the old Cape Road. 1975 is about when I first visited this area. Mike Douglas and I had paddled down the river from Gladstone, arriving after dark at the bridge over the Little Boobyalla River. We'd struggled through tea tree swamps of Blue Enchanties Lagoon. The river entrance is still direct and the river has diverted at the bend and Bowlers Lagoon seems to have refilled. The entrance is starting to head north. There's a massive diversion at the bend, and Bowlers Lagoon is smaller, with lower sand blows well east of the old Cape Road. (1991), and where is Bowlers Lagoon? The entrance is still heading north, and sand is well across the old road, and the bend seems to be stabilising into a new course. Curious lines crossing the vegetation in the northwest of the area may be due to cattle. (2002), and the entrance heading south again. The northern sandblow retreating, but the southern one is now quite extensive. Bowlers Lagoon has developed into small ponds. The southern sandblow continues to head southeast. Bowlers Lagoon has virtually gone, and the bend is stabilising as a new course. The river entrance is somewhat convoluted. The river bend stabilised on a new curve. Bowlers Lagoon seems doomed, and the sandblow continues their march east. No prizes for guessing which are the prevailing winds here. In the near future, this same area is designated as a large wind farm site, with towers over 270 metres tall. The towers will be on the higher ground to the east, but will significantly alter the overall scenic values. As we leave the area, note that despite some effects of the sand dunes, the Ringarooma River largely maintains its course through the Foster's Marshes and out to Ringarooma Bay. In 1979, the remains of the old bridge on the Cape Road and what looks like telegraph poles can be seen near the bend. The poles can also be seen in this photo of students on the survival camp. Boobyalla is a special part of Dorset. Nowhere else do you see active undisturbed dunes, alongside wet tea tree marshes and open treeless plains. In the 1820s, Henry Widdowson described it as like an English parkland. Much of the area is a result of sea level changes that once covered and uncovered the land. In the last 200 years, burning and overstocking has led to large areas of mobile sand blown by strong northwesterlies, explaining why previously settled areas are now under sand. The Ringarooma River is in the middle of a continuous battle between maritime winds and currents, and river flows affected by mining, floods and irrigation. As a result of this, the area is of special interest historically, geologically and photographically. For the last 50 years, I have been waiting for the dunes to slowly move on, to uncover artefacts and help unravel the mystery of the 1836 farmhouse, the telegraph line from Boobyalla to Cape Portland, the bridge on the old Cape Road, and a police station. But I think I'm running out of time.